I hope you're having a great holiday season and welcome to another Stompy 51 miniature adventure where I'm going to talk about a recently painted orc Weirdboy I've done. Because I've always wanted to have a mad orc psychic exploding with the power of the Wa and held down by his minders as per this amazing piece of Paul Bonner artwork. Did I mention I love Paul Bonner artwork? But the thing is, I foolishly swapped this one away sometime back in the 90s and I don't have the 80 quid to buy it back. I now need one for my Xenos Rampant army where I'll make the Orc Weirdboy primitive infantry because I don't reckon he's going to be doing any actual real shooting or fighting, and then I'll just designate him a psychic, deciding how many different psychic powers I want to give him, albeit none of the powers in the psychic powers table really scream out green energy. I mean, psychic healing, no. Machine friend, no. Visions of terror, sounds too chaos paralysis, doesn't sound very orky. Concealment, definitely not. Guiding eye, guiding hand, psychic shield, nah. Transportation, maybe. Annulment, not really. But you know what? It's the spirit of the thing that counts in this particularly nice and slick rule set. But I think what I've got captures the rogue insanity of what I'm after here. He's metal, which is great because when I assembled him, you know, it was a real pain to get these little Gretchen goblin types in the right place with their hands in the right place. And I ended up having to bend the chains to be in the right place, to be where the Gretchen were in the right place. And it occurred to me if this had been the so-called fine cast, the kind of early Games Workshop resin, which people malign quite rightly, you know, if you'd bent those, they would have cracked, I imagine. I don't know how flexible the fine cast really was. But anyway, this guy was a real pleasure to paint because I often go for, as I've shown with the Canon, a little bit of a diorama. And this was a diorama in one miniature. So he's standing on a tire to give you a sense that he's in the middle of some kind of post-apocalyptic kind of battlefield or world. He's a psychic, and so his brain has been operated upon by the pain boys, the medics of the orc world. He's got this white eyeball because he can just see his teeth because he's obviously quite aged. He's got some kind of metal plate in his mouth, metal dentures, because he's just old and wise, or the power of the force is just eroding his frail frame. He's obviously knocked out a few enemy in his time and collected the mementos because of their karmic force, which they embody within them. And there you've got some kind of imperial eagle and what must be some kind of Eldar, elven-like sign. He seems to have tuning forks all over his body because as he walks around, the bells, the tuning forks just jingle, jangle and go because of all the power zooming forth out of his body. I'm sorry it's so dark. It's just a dark day. That's why I haven't been doing too many videos, because that kind of lightness, that brightness that just brings out even the worst paint job just doesn't seem to be helping me here. The little Gretchen are trying to hold him down because he could just fly off with the force, and this little Gretchen just seems to be randomly floating next to him. And even he is just, his mind is slightly addled by all of this, and his tongue is just dangling out. Loads of skulls everywhere. Of course you need skulls. It's kind of part of the ingredients that make the 41st millennium what it is. And actually, I hadn't realised this before, he could fly quite high with this kind of wound up chain. So someone really thought this all through. His magic wand, his psychic stick, has a couple of balls on either end, which I put a bit of resin water effect on, just so that it looked like there was some kind of, thin light bulb, and there's some kind of orc head rammed on it. Maybe his mentor from years before. These little Eldar, I forgot what they're called. They're called waystones. They kind of carry the soul of their predecessors, so he's grabbed a few of those. More jingly jangly bells. And again, I didn't go wild painting him. You can see I've just been trying to find some kind of use for purple. I don't know if you guys find this. You end up buying pots of paint and you go through certain colours much faster than others. And so I always just try to keep a mind's eye out for what else I could use them for. And so I would like to think that I did a reasonable job on that skin, which is about 6 or 7 layers of paint, which doesn't really come out in this video, on which I'm going to put down to the poor light, as opposed to the poverty of my painting skill. But as they say, practice makes perfect, and that will be the focus of my year to come, albeit I'm thinking about just painting my way through a whole load of Warhammer Fantasy metal dwarves versus keeping on going with my orcs, seeing as I think I probably have enough now for a Xenos Rampant or Firefight army. Anyway, keep well, keep safe, and please do like, comment, and subscribe so more people can find the excitement that is my little channel.